Alright, in this video we're going to go over establishing scope and defining the systems that go into the project. So this assumes that you've had your initial site meeting with the customer, you've discussed with them or through email communications, other means, and you know exactly what the customer needs to meet what they're looking for with their project goals. So we're going to open up the same project that we created earlier in our earlier video. This is number 20 AV045 for the Georgia Cyber Center. We're going to check out the file. If we don't check out the project, we can't make any changes to it. We can only view it. Alright, so here we are, our empty project, just as we created in our earlier video. To define the scope for the project, we're actually going to tie that to the location in the project. So we're going to come over here to our right hand navigation panel and click on the map dot where we can manage the project locations. And you want to highlight the location that we're talking about here. So if this were a larger project, had multiple rooms, different room types, you would have a scope for each room. In this case, we just have one location, and our scope goes into this description box here. So typically you would enter something of this nature. In this case, Georgia Cyber Center is requesting a display that they already have be installed in the space, and they want to use both wireless AirMedia technology and have a wired input for use of it. So I pre-typed all of this so that it would be easy to display in the video. So we then say something to the effect that to meet the needs of the client. We present the following proposal and then go into a bit of detail about the proposal. What we're doing. We're installing an owner furnished display. We're going to use a Crestron AM200 and we're going to locate that behind the display to enable presentation from user devices. We're going to have a wired input plate beneath the display. Things like that sort of say, all right, this is what we're going to do. We know your need. We've talked about it. This is what we're going to do to meet the need. For this project, there's going to be required infrastructure that's going to have to go in here. So infrastructure meaning electrical or data to supply either electricity or network connectivity to the devices we're installing. We have some pre-canned snippets, and as you work with DTools more, you may create your own snippets. But in order to insert the snippet, we just click right here. And now we're talking, so our first thing we want to put in there is about the electrical and data. And so we've got this pre-canned snippet for electrical and data that we want to insert. And this just simply says electrical and data infrastructure is required. We're going to have it installed by university approved contractors. We're going to provide AV Systems Engineering is going to provide all of the testing and user training, etc. The last disclaimer, or the last snippet, which is really a disclaimer that we always put in our scope, is a contingency. So this explains to the customer when they look at the proposal when they get down to the bottom, when they get down to where it really matters, the project breakdown, what that 10% contingency line that we put in there is. So we're going to insert this snippet, and there's our explanation of what that is. And so now our scope for this project is complete, and we're going to save this. So our scope is tied to the location. We need to define our systems for the project. This is the systems area here on the right hand side, and you click the little multicolored dots to bring that up. We can add, and we have some predefined systems, things that we use most often. In this case, we're going to have a presentation display. We're going to have some installation labor. We're going to have some infrastructure, and we're going to have some input devices. So we're going to add those to our project. Alright, the order that these appear in will relate to the order that they display on the proposal when it's completed. I always put installation as the last item. It's the last thing people want to see, last thing they care about. mainly because our installation rates are zero when we do things in-house for our customers. We can move these items around in systems by moving them up and down with these buttons to arrange them. Infrastructure is always the next to the last thing I display because that's not the sexy part of AB. In this case, for this small, simple project, our display is really, that's the key point. So we're going to put our display first, then our input sources, our infrastructure, and our installation. And we're going to save that. So now we have our scope defined and our systems defined for this project. In the next video, we'll go over adding materials to the various systems for the project and getting a proposal ready to present to the customer.